So you have two handouts that we're going to go over. Hang on, let me get my computer straight. So the first one that I want you to find is one that says how to solve for a missing side. So we're working with perimeter and area. Remember, perimeter is the fence that goes all around. To get the perimeter, we add all the sides. So sometimes when they draw a shape, they will give us a missing side. Look at this trapezoid. They tell us that the perimeter is 45 inches. That means that if I were to walk all the way around this shape, it would equal 45. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. This shape equals 45 inches. Okay? Also, they tell me what 3 of the 4 sides are. Now, I can't use these sides to get this missing number because on a trapezoid, the sides do not match. All the sides are not going to match. This top side is longer, so I know that the number has to be smaller than 18 because I have the 18 and it's the longest side. So to get this answer, I'm going to have to put all of these numbers, 18 plus 10 plus 10 plus blank. We have a missing side here. So that's what that blank means. That's the question mark I'm trying to figure out. I'm trying to find this missing side. So we need to put together the numbers we do have. So we're going to add together the 18 and the 2 10s. Well, I know 2 10s is 20. And 18 plus 20 is 38. So now I have 38 is what I do know. Plus this missing side has to equal 45. Because the perimeter was 45. So to find this, I now need to do the inverse or the opposite. Anytime you have a missing number in addition, you do the opposite, which is subtraction. So or the inverse. So 45 minus what I have, which is 38. Regroup. 15 take away 8 is 7. And 3 take away 3 is 0. So that missing side would have to be 7. Now I could easily check that by adding the 7. We already knew that this was 2 10s was 20 plus 8 was 38. Let's add 7 to 38, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45. So it does work. So the missing side would be 7 inches. These are inches. All right, let's try another one. We have this irregular shaped, not really any shape that we've seen very much. We have a 14, a 10, a 1. We don't know. We have a 13 and a 5. Okay, so this side here is missing. Determine where you can cut or split the figure to make rectangles or squares to figure out. So sometimes we have to use the sides that we're given. They don't tell me a perimeter on this one. So I'm going to have to use the other sides to figure out what this missing side is. So this is what I notice. I notice I have this side here, the entire side is 10. So if I were to do this and turn this side into a rectangle, now I know that this side and this side I just created both have to equal 10 because it's now a rectangle. And in a rectangle, the left and the right are equal. So if this side's 10, now I know this side has to be 10. I know this bottom side is 1, so the top would also have to be 1, right? But I need to figure out what this half of this 10 is. Look on the other side. If 5 is over here, that means this line right here also has to be 5 because that's another rectangle, isn't it? This is also a rectangle. So the left and the right on this rectangle have to match. So 5 and what would give me my matching side of 10? What would have to go here to make 10? Another 5, because 5 and 5 make 10, right? And we need this side to be 10. So this missing side here would have to be 10. So we know that 5 feet is our missing side. Now we could find perimeter of the whole shape, couldn't we, if it's asking us to, but it's not. So we're just looking for that missing side of 5. Once again, I created a rectangle because I know in a rectangle the left and the right have to match. If this side on this rectangle is 5, then this little side here would have to be 5. And the only way to make my long sides match is to have 5 plus 5, because that would equal 10. On the back of this, you're going to try some on your own. You're trying to find the missing side. You're not trying to find perimeter. Now, if it tells you what the perimeter is, like number 2 right here, well, actually should have been number 1. That's a misprint. Just like number 1 here tells you that the perimeter is 32, you need to get rid of the sides you know to find the missing side. But if it doesn't tell you the perimeter like this one, you're going to have to look somewhere else on the shape to find a side that matches your missing side. So you try the back on your own. We'll go over some of these when we have our Google Meet. The second handout you have today is titled Area of Irregular Figures. So they're not always going to give us these perfect little rectangles or squares where it's easy. So remember, for area, you need just 2 sides. Area is the grass inside the playground. To get the area, you have to multiply. You need a length and a width. You need a long side and a short side. When they give you a shape that looks like this, you're going to have to create rectangles. Now, there's 2 ways I can make a rectangle. I can cut it across here, make a rectangle, or I can cut it across here and make a rectangle. I'm going to go this way this time. Okay, so my top rectangle already has the numbers I need. The numbers at the top, my longest side is 8, and my shortest side is 3. So I know I can just say 8 times 3 and get the area of the top. Now, I just did something to this smaller one. Okay, I cut it. When I drew that line, I cut it. So this is not 6. 6 was for the entire long side. I don't need that much. I only need this amount. So I'm going to have to look on this side, and I notice there's 3 over here, which means this is 3. So 3 and what would give me my 6? Because 6 was the total. 3 plus 3 would give me my 6. So I now know if the top is 3, the bottom's also 3. So now this rectangle has a length of 3 and a width of 1. So 3 times 1 equals. Now let's answer those. 8 times 3 was 24. 3 times 1 is 3. So I have an area of 24 on the top. I have an area of 3 on the side. We cut it apart, so we need to put it back together. 24 plus 3 is 27. These are inches, and we are doing area, so we need to square that. 27 inches squared are squared inches. If you cut your shape into 2 smaller parts, you've got to remember to put them back together in the end. Okay? All right, let's look down at the bottom. Let's practice another one. So again, we have an irregular shaped picture here. All of our yards are not perfect squares or rectangles. We're going to figure out where we want to cut it. So I could cut it here, or I could cut it across here. I'm going to go across. You don't ever go diagonal. We need to make rectangles, not trapezoids. So here's my rectangle. I now have a top rectangle and a bottom rectangle. The top has the 2 sides I need, 7 and 4. Remember, area is length times width. So I know the top is 28. Now I have a problem down here because I just cut this line across. The entire side was 11. I don't need the whole 11. 11 went from the very bottom to the very top. I don't need that much. 3 is fine. I am going to use this. But I need to figure out what this side is now. So look across here. This was 4, which means this right here is also 4, because that rectangle, the left and the right, have to match. So if this is 4, so is this. 4 and what would give me that 11? Well, 4 plus 5 is 9. That's not 11. 4 plus 6 is 10. That's not 11. 4 plus 7 is 11. So this side here would have to be 7, because 4 and 7 would give me that answer of 11. So the missing side now is 7. So I'm going to say 7 times 3 for my bottom rectangle, which is 21. Now I cut it, so I got to put them back together. 28 plus 21 is 49. MM stands for millimeters squared. So my area is 49 millimeters squared, or squared millimeters. On the back, you're going to do some practicing on your own. Now, I will caution you on number 2. Everybody look at number 2 on the back. Number 2, you are actually going to have to cut this into three rectangles, which means when you're done, you're going to have 3 numbers to add together. All of the others can just be cut into 2 rectangles, but that one has to be 3. So you have your length and width on the top. You do not have length and width on the middle one. You're going to have to figure that out. And you have length and width on the bottom. So if we look at this middle one, this entire line was 7. 3 went to the top. 3 plus what is 7? 3 plus 4. So 4 is one of my numbers I need to use. Okay, now we've got to find the top. Now we just made this side longer. It was 9 from here to here. We added another line, which if you look up here is 4, which means this is 4. So 9 and 4, what would this longest side be? 13. So there's your 2 numbers. 4 and 3, 4 and 13, and 4 and 3. So you're going to say 4 times 3, 4 times 13, and 3 times 4. When you get those 3 answers, you need to add them back together to find your total area. All right, y'all work both back sides of the missing number on perimeter and those irregular figures on area. Remember, perimeter we're adding, area we're multiplying.